Hello and welcome back to Dorks on Sports, a podcast about four dorks talking about sports. My name is Daniel. Joining me, as always, is Curtis Eastwood. Curtis, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing well.
What's happening? Yeah, we saw a Seahawks game.
We went to a game together. Yeah,
we went to a game together. Yeah, it didn't turn out as we hoped, but it was fun all the same.
It was a fun game to be at live.
Yeah. Your Henry joined us. Your son Henry joined us, and
my 4-year-old son was there. It was his very first Seahawks game, and I was really nervous how he was going to hold up because he did really good. Well. What's that?
He did really good.
He did really good. He did way better than I thought he was. He was actually into it at different times. Like he got into the whole screaming and stuff like that. I mean, he
giving out lots of high fives.
Yeah, he was doing the high fives. He was active. It was fun.
It was a good time. And it was super fun to have him there. It's kind of special, and we had great seats. We got to see a DK Metcalf touchdown, not nice. Even like maybe 50 feet away from us. It was pretty sweet.
Nice.
Right in our corner. It was pretty nice. It was a fun time. We'll talk about the game more as we get into it. Allanah, how are you doing over there?
Doing all right. It's birthday season for the dorks here on sports, and
it is birthday season for the dorks. That's right.
Yeah, because my birthday is in 2 hours. Your birthday's in what, 26 hours?
Yeah.
And then Curtis, you're like what, a week and a half after that?
A week from Friday.
Yeah,
3 Libras on Dorks on Sports.
A week from Saturday.
This
explains so much.
Does it though? 3 Libras and what? Are you a Sag? No, you're Aquarius, right?
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius.
Oh, well, we're all air signs. So
is that something? Is that meaningful?
I mean, the Seahawks are a bird. We're air signs. I feel like that's complimentary.
Yeah.
Why is Aquarius and not a water sign? Because like aquariums.
You would have to ask my wife on that one because she's all up in that whole business.
Growing up, I always was like, of course it's a water sign. And then it was sort of like, no. It just because it is a water image does not mean it's a water sign. And I was like, that makes no sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I don't know how that works. How's it going, Millie?
It's going all right. Thanks.
How'd your fantasy teams doing?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. In my Folger league, it was a fantastic week. I scored the most points out of everyone.
Hey.
Redemption City, let's go. This is the team that I wanted. This is great stuff, right? Then there's my what used to be a dynasty team that was rebooted because I was just too good. And I have one piece of kryptonite, and it's called Ron Meckler, my father. And that man is usually in last place all the time, and yet always beats me. And this season, true to form, not only did he beat me, but he had the highest score out of all the teams.
Wow.
So props to you, Dad. It's not nice, but props to you. Props to you. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Did he have Cordell Patterson on his team?
No. I'm gonna check because now I'm always like, who's on these teams that I'm talking about? And then it was real close to me actually getting cut in that guillotine league as the first person. I was in the bottom 3, but Tony Pollard came through and saved me from a poor week, especially out of the people who should be your anchors like Patrick Mahomes. It was a rough fantasy week, y'all.
He had a rough game.
He did.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So Seahawks dropped a close one against the Atlanta Falcons at home. But I want to preface this. I want to preface this. I think I could speak for all of us. Here at the Dorks, we don't have lofty expectations for this team, right? Like this team isn't a contender. I'm going into this season, in a rebuild season like this one, What I want to see is I want to see a team that's competitive and a team that's starting so many young people. I just want to see improvements, and I want to see that we're going in the right direction. There were some good things I saw from this game, and I want to give Geno Smith and that offense some props. I thought Geno, I know he threw the pick at the end, but Geno's not that guy who's going to like win it for us in the fourth quarter. Like we, this team has to put up some points and not expect to, Geno to like put it on his shoulders like we did with Russell Wilson. But I thought Geno played a hell of an efficient game. He had a couple touchdowns. He had 306 yards or something like that, 72% completion. I thought he hit the receivers that he needed to. They didn't take a lot of deep shots, but they were getting a lot of those, 16 yards, 18 yards, using the tight ends well. They ran the ball well. I still wished they would have had maybe like 30 attempts rather than 20. I would have liked to see Penny get somewhere between like 23 and 25 carries. Instead, I think he got like 15 or something like that. But overall, I thought the offense played well. Millie, what did you see out of that?
I agree with you. I thought that offensively, we looked pretty good, and it's one of those that, people show a highlight reel and you've got this final play that's an interception out of Geno, but that was not what represented that game in any way. The fact that there was even a chance was a kudos to the offense. I think the offense played really well, better than expected. I was happy to see some good play out of Rashad Penny. We got DK involved again on some big plays.
Uncle Will got a touchdown. That was fun.
Uncle Will. So really happy. I agree with the offense. The defense was just kind of terrifying in that, I think we expected to see, the first week was the first week, and we were all like, okay. And then the second week was like, okay. And then we're showing where we're weak, and we lost Jamal Adams. And then you get into last week, and just kind of scary, the level of I don't know what to call it, the level of failure. I mean, what is it? Quandre Diggs said we stunk it up on defense, and
he's not wrong. I mean, they let that mediocre Atlanta Falcons offense do whatever they wanted. And, Cordero Patterson is good, but giving up like 175 yards to him or something like that. And again, making a mediocre quarterback look like a Pro Bowler and Marcus Mariota.
Well, and as I said, this is where Kyle Pitts is finally gonna, start signing. And
you were so right about that, Millie.
Yep.
He looked like a monster next to our defense. I mean, he is a big man, but it was just comical almost. He just looked so humongous in a lot of those plays. I was like, okay.
I do want to highlight a couple things. I mean, that defense was bad, but there were a couple fun plays for me. Kobe Bryant getting his first sack as a pro, I thought was really fun to watch. And Tariq Woolen getting an interception, which I missed because it was like 40 seconds left in the half. And I was like, I'm going to go hit the bathroom early. Yeah. And I missed Tariq Woolen getting that interception. You know what else I missed? The Corgi Bowl.
Yeah.
Run.
That's rough.
If I had known they had the Corgi run, I would have hung around for halftime.
It's unfortunate that those are always surprises. It's like,
I know,
Corgi races are the goddamn best.
They are the goddamn best. Those stupid little dogs. I love them.
My Corgi is sitting behind me. She's not pleased.
Curtis, what's going on with this defense?
They can't stop the run.
No, they can't at all.
We've had 3 games with this team right now, and my biggest takeaway is that the offense is much further ahead than the defense is, even
Yeah.
though the offense played pretty poorly in San Francisco, or at Santa Clara. You know, they could easily be 2-1 right now. If you know, if for a couple, you know, things that happened toward in that last final drive, with the offense, with the holding call, with taking the sack, with throwing the pick. I mean, they marched it right down there with a chance to still pull this game out.
Yeah.
They came close, but
And if
they
that defense had
wouldn't
just
have had
got
to have been
one
in that
stop.
position with if it wasn't for the busted plays, you know. And you know, I actually think the biggest difference of the game wasn't the passing attack with the tight end for Atlanta. I mean, I think it was Cordell Patterson. He ran upshot. They gave up monster chunks on the ground because of blown assignments.
Well, and you know, Cordero Patterson, who's running like 5 yards, 6 yards, and all of a sudden
that
you're
opening
2
drive,
and 4 and
first
2
series
and
in
3,
which
and like that's
Atlanta
a
had the
killer.
ball, you know, I mean, it was just they couldn't stop Patterson, you know, and you're not going to win a lot of games in football if you can't stop the run. I think they can. I think that, you know, I pondered the question in my blog piece the next day about like what if the issue is it an X's and O's thing, or is it what they like to say in football, the Jimmies and the Joes? Is it a players thing, or is it a scheme thing? And I actually sort of think that it's a players thing, and that seems like that's an ominous sort of thing, but I actually think that if they get Darrell Taylor out on early downs where he's getting washed away in the runs, and they put in Boye Mafe and this Daryl Johnson guy, if you study the Pro Football Focus, Boye Mafe actually ranks in the top 10 of the league of edge rushers against the run.
Not
Like
just
he's been
rookies,
playing
but
sensational in the minutes that he's been in there.
Wow.
But you know, they've by virtue, I think, of seniority, you know, and how well he did last year as a pass rusher, they've been giving, you know, Darrell Taylor the starting nod and stuff. So I think what Carroll signaled yesterday is definitely that you're going to see more Boye Mafe in early downs, along with this Daryl Johnson guy, who's also been much more stouter than Taylor. And maybe you just use Taylor just almost exclusively right now anyways, as a third down pass rush specialist.
So do you think, Curtis, then is it talent on the player side, or is it discipline?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, there was one clip that went viral on Seahawks Twitter of Cody Barton. The first touchdown that Atlanta gave up, it was an easy like 12-13 yard scamper, I think, maybe even more of Patterson on the right side in the end zone. There's a shot of Cody Barton in his middle linebacker position, cutting inside towards the center to like latch on to like a guard that's like going out. And it's like he's not even, you can just look, he's not even engaged, it seems, with his eyes with Patterson and where the ball's going. He's looking to hit up a blocker. And by making that cut inside towards the blocker to take him on, that gives about a 10-yard gap between him and the person out on the perimeter for Patterson with his speed to just cut right up and through there for like an easy score. Like that's a blown coverage. That's totally like a discipline thing. So I feel like there's blown assignments, but I also think there's correctable things that they can do. And the thing that gave me like the best sign of hope was actually when I started listening to the press conferences of the players, and it was Uchenna Nwosu, who who copped up to the fact that on the other huge scamper run that led to the go-ahead score for Atlanta in the second half to Patterson, he was reading Mariota and wasn't reading the run fit at all. He like played the play action instead of containing his side of the field, which, you know, I mean, in football defense 101, the guys that are playing the edges have to contain. That's what they got.
Yeah.
They've got to hold that ground. And he gave that up and he admitted it. And I actually think that
That's a good
shows
sign.
a really great sign of leadership is by fessing up. Like, you know, I mean, when you fuck up, say you fucked up, you know. Don't start having a hissy fit, you know, in front of, you know, and cussing about how everyth's screwed up and stuff like that. Own up to it, you know. Own up to your stuff. And the fact that we have somebody who's a pretty solid veteran in the league owning up to me makes me think that, you know, they know what they know. At least they've got players on that side that know what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. And that's always kind of been one of Carroll's chief tenets is accountability. They spend a whole day on it. I have hopes, you know, Carroll's teams, these Seahawks teams in the past, these defenses have sometimes started out slow and gotten better over time.
Yeah, that's been,
and so it's still very early in the season. Yeah. So Allanah, where does this team go from here?
I think that it's really just a matter of getting playing time.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got a really tough opponent next week in Detroit. I think that it's going to be tough that we're playing in Detroit. I think that's a team that wants to win right now and is going to fight really hard for it. In terms of where we go from here, we just keep playing. We play through the season. I agree that there's a lot to like. There's a lot to want to focus on, that this remains a season that we can have a lot of fun with. That even though we're homers, and, you know, I predicted an 8-9 season, if they go 3-14, you know, they go 3-14. This is not a season that should expect to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. I love how Geno's playing. I love how Lockett and Metcalf are playing. I love how much they want to be here. And that's been made evident. I love Diggs and how he's owning up to how the defense is playing. It's great. And so Wolin seeing that, and Kobe Bryant seeing that, and Boye Mafe seeing that, and Michael Jackson seeing that, and they're seeing what it means to be a Seahawk. And that's great. That's what we want. And Lucas and
Cross
are seeing that as well. So even though it's not the best of times, it's not the worst of times either. Yeah. And there's a lot to look forward to and a lot of fun games to watch, even if we lose most of them.
I agree. And you know, even though we lost, I thought the game on Sunday was a really entertaining one. Yeah. And I had a great time. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to see for the rest of the season, is just stay competitive, make them interesting. What do you have something to say, Millie?
I just say, I mean, along that front, it was a very entertaining football game.
Mm-hmm.
And I never felt like it was over.
Yeah.
You know, it was a really fun game. I was completely engaged the whole time, and I wasn't sitting in the end zone. I mean, that was a fun game. And I think this Sunday, you know, along those lines, I think this Sunday is going to be a really fun game too. It's a great matchup. It's going to be fun.
There were a lot of fun games around the league on Sunday. If you like chaos ball, this Sunday's NFL was for you.
Can I talk about beauty?
Yes.
The punting this weekend in the NFL was beautiful. Yeah. Not only it's a Dayenu moment, which if you don't know, look it up. Not only did we have just the punting game of a lifetime in that Denver San Francisco game.
Yeah.
Like,
By the way,
like
I think
5
Russell Wilson had the most 3-and-outs of his career in that game.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
were like 5 times where the ball hit the 1-yard line, bounced straight up in the air, and the special teams units were able to corral it before it went into the end zone. It was
Amazing.
unbelievable. Dianu, then you have the butt punt,
Oh,
which, oh my goodness, it was such a thing to behold. And I was watching it on this is a little side thing. When the Seahawks aren't as good, I feel more inclined to get Red Zone because then I can watch all the games at the same time. And I caught that butt punt on Red Zone, and I rewound it and made my family watch it like 4 times. I was like, he kicked it right into his butt. And then usually when you do a butt punt, you lose the game. Not those Dolphins. But
that
I
was
read
a wild
somewhere.
game.
Yeah. The Denver punter had 473 yards of punting in that game.
That has to be a record, right?
And then
That's
I don't know
crazy.
if it is. And then the last piece of it was on Monday Night Football when Eli said they should have paid the punter that $235 million instead of Russell. And it was
So
just like,
good.
thank you.
I also
but there
liked Mark Sanchez's tweet about the butt punt.
Stay out of
don't
my
come for
lane
me.
or
That's my
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
There were just so many, and like that Miami Buffalo game was so much fun to watch. And I was so surprised that Miami pulled it out, though they did, circumvent some concussion protocol there.
Yeah.
Like,
What happened?
Tua got
Tua.
rocked,
Yeah.
and then he got up and tried to walk off the field and basically did one of these dances before falling down. And then they were like, "Oh, it's a back." It's like, no, it's not. We saw his head slam into the ground. Like the teams in the NFL are not trustworthy when it comes to identifying head trauma in their own players. And like,
No.
they still don't have a system for it that works. But then that Jacksonville looks good. Like Trevor Lawrence.
Looks good. I was just thinking about this, how last season was a bad season for Trevor Lawrence just because of the situation he was in with Urban Meyer and that whole fiasco. But
right. But they picked up Doug Peterson, and it's like, oh, you went from the worst to one of the best.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's like, Mac Jones was maybe played the best out of the rookie quarterback class last season. And then you watch Trevor Lawrence play this year and you're like, oh yeah, that's the step above. That's what a good a great quarterback looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I like Doug Peterson. I'm rooting for. They're an underdog. I'm rooting for him. I feel kind of the same way about Miami. It's like I'm kind of rooting for you. Yeah, I like an underdog story.
There's just a lot of good games, and it's a lot of surprise. The 2 teams that are currently undefeated are Miami and Philadelphia. Like I don't think people would have had that on the bingo card. Someone referred to that Chiefs. Colts game as being a guillotine league killer for those who do the guillotine pick as opposed to what Millie's the league Millie's in for fantasy. And the other thing that's really surprising is that the Raiders are 0-3. They're the only team that has all losses.
And it's crazy because I actually think they're way better than 0-3.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a Josh McDaniels believer though. I thought that was a horrible choice for a coach. I think they could have had Russell Wilson if they would have gotten like a better coach in that situation. I mean, that would have been perfect for him and Sierra to get him there and like.
She could have had a Vegas residency.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The NFL wouldn't be able to handle it. Do we?
The last thing I want to say about it is like that our we were on the vanguard a little bit when it came to recognizing and mocking Russell's "Let's Ride" because it is everywhere, and everyone is mocking him for it. I see so many TikToks that are there's this guy who just acts out various skits about NFL quarterbacks, NFL teams. And 100% of the time, Russell Wilson is staring in front of a mirror with a football, trying to go, let's ride. We tried. Just and it's wonderful. And he's just an unintentional cheeseball.
I'm here all day for Russell Wilson.
All day.
And I'm enjoying Geno Smith.
Yes. Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, having
Russell Wilson.
An absolute league leading completion percentage. That's great.
He's got better numbers than Brady and Rodgers right now on a lot of categories. I'm not saying he's the next, I mean,
he's a competent,
let's see this season play out for Geno.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Millie, how did we do last week?
Oh, goodness. Hold on. I forgot to double. Oh, that's right. I was right.
So where are we at? Is Millie you have
You're 3-0. No, you were wrong on the Denver game and we were all right.
That's right.
Is that true?
Nah, I think she picked the Seahawks.
You're probably right.
I did actually. I'm 3.
Grumble.
But I love you guys, all of you, very much. I did not give it the high scoring affair that it turned out to be. I will say that much.
You're not 100% right.
If there was one thing I didn't think this game was going to be,
I did. I said 27-20. So not bad.
That's not bad.
Oh, wasn't it 27-24?
No, it's 27.
That's right. I changed my mind. I was going to make it 27-7, and then I decided that didn't make any sense. So I went 27-20. Okay. All right. I don't feel so bad anymore. I was like, I didn't give him any credit. I didn't realize how bad it was after all. Yeah. So I'm on track with my 5-12, but it's going to be an exciting 5-12. Y'all, it is.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for, listen, if they end up going 3 and, whatever, we just get a higher draft pick.
That's right.
That's
right. That's truth. Facts. Sorry.
So Seattle's headed to Denver.
No.
I've been thinking about this game. Detroit. I think Detroit has a sneaky good offense. And I think they also have a sneaky good defense. I think Detroit is a little bit better than people are giving them credit for. I think on the road, and until the Seahawks can show me they can stop the run, I'm saying it's going to be Detroit 27-24.
I don't think it's going to be that close. I think Detroit wins, and I think it's 27-10.
Oof.
Yeah, I think that, I have a lot of belief in that Detroit team. I think they're going to be everybody's second favorite team this year, alongside the Dolphins. I just think that, Goff is whatever, but Amon-Ra is awesome. Is he out?
Yeah.
I thought he was questionable.
I think he's still questionable. And I have to say, as someone who drafted him years ago now, Amon-Ra is what I yell every time. It just makes me happy. He is injured, and I think I have a feeling he might not play. The only thing that could work out for the Seahawks here is that Allanah is hurt and might not play. DeAndre Swift is banged up and might not. I don't know. I don't think that he's not going to play, but he's real banged up. He's not looking so hot this week. So these are things that could work for us. But I also think that their defense is very good. So, you know, I am going to take this as another Seahawks loss. But it's a little bit of a gimpy Lions team that, in my opinion, should probably be 3-0.
Yeah.
They are just so close every time, and
Yeah.
they look real good. It's just so typical of that Detroit team.
I know.
They should win a game, and then they don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to take this as a loss. So, I'd say Detroit 21, Seahawks 17.
All right. Curtis, what do you got?
Seahawks have currently right now the second worst rushing rush defense in the league. Run defense in the league, they're the second worst at stopping the run out of 32 teams. And the Detroit Lions average, I believe, 5.9 yards.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be ugly.
And so every ounce of my fiber has to say that Detroit's gonna win this game. But I'm gonna go against all that, and I'm gonna say the Seahawks are gonna pull this one out.
Wow.
I think the Detroit's dealing with more injuries than Seattle is right now. I think that there's going to be an adjustment to the Seahawks defense. I think there's going to be, I think this is going to be a good week for Seattle to catch the Lions, and I'm going to say Seattle is going to win this one, 20-17.
I like it.
So the one other thing I want to add about Detroit, even if DeAndre Swift can't play or is very limited, is that their number 2, Jamal Williams, is proving to be very dangerous as well. Keep an eye on him. He's a real up and comer. And
hey, if you play fantasy, go out and get him on the waivers.
Yeah, this team is going to get stronger as the year goes if they can stay.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're a lot better than people are giving them credit for, and I wouldn't be surprised if they surprise the league this season. So what's the score in the Mariners game? So we're recording this at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. The last when I logged into this thing, the Rangers were leading the M's 5-0 in the 9th.
That's how it finished.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Fortunately for us, Baltimore lost, so the magic number is 5. And I think Baltimore is still 3.5 games back. It's
4.5 if you count the fact that we won the season series. Yeah,
that's right. And I think
what do you mean when you say the magic number?
Yes,
the number.
I can. Do you want to take this? I can take it.
So I got it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The number of games they have to win to make it to clinch a playoff berth, but it is also impacted by the number of games the team immediately behind them loses. So if Baltimore loses and Seattle wins, then the magic number goes down by 2. If Seattle wins and Baltimore wins, the magic number goes down by 1. And if Baltimore wins and Seattle loses, the magic number doesn't change.
And the magic number can never go up. So any combination of wins and losses will take that magic number down. So if the Mariners had won, the magic number would be 4.
And by my guess count, there are 8 games left in the regular season.
Yeah.
So Seattle needs to win 5 of those 8 games.
If Seattle, let's say Seattle wins 2 and Baltimore loses 3 of the remaining 8 games, then we're in.
Yeah.
So we could go 2-6. If Baltimore goes 3-5, then we're in.
Like if for the next 3 days we win and Baltimore loses every day, we would be in. I mean, we could be in by Friday.
And that's actually why I wanted to walk through it, because a lot of people are saying the magic number is, and I think there's a lot of people who don't entirely know what that means.
Totally.
It feels like, oh, we have to win 5 of these games. And it's like,
Right.
really?
Right.
We have to win 5 of these games if Baltimore keeps winning.
Right.
Which
Exactly.
they haven't actually, they're not in a like hot streak, right?
Right.
Like they took 2 out of 3 from the Astros, but then they lost to the Red Sox.
Right.
So like, they're doing the same, they're
Pretty
not coming in
convincingly.
hot. Yeah.
Like,
Over the
Yeah.
last 10 games, Seattle is 3-7, and over the last 10 games, Baltimore is 5-5.
Yeah. So they're
They've
not
done
setting the
slightly
world
better
on
than
fire.
Seattle over the last
right.
10 games.
I mean, if that trend stayed for the next 2 weeks, we would be in.
Yeah.
I mean, as it stands, Seattle has a 99.9% chance of making the playoffs. And that's not a number I'm pulling out of my ass. That's an actual, like, that is our odds.
The
What's
Mariners
really
are going to the
interesting-
playoffs this year. This is
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Is that in front of us? I believe it's I think it's the Blue Jays.
It's the Rays. The Blue
Rays,
Jays have the
that-
top wild card, and the
Right.
Rays are behind.
So then it's the Rays, who's, even though they're ahead of us, are actually 99.6, strangely enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at ESPN and all 3 of those teams are 99.9 with Baltimore at 0.1.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's different calculated in different places.
So Mariners fans, relax. We're going to the playoffs.
We're gonna clear that hurdle. Now, what happens in the playoffs is a different question.
That's true. And that's when our recent play has been a little concerning. I'm hoping that they're going to get those monsters out now, and then we can enter the playoffs.
And then Julio will come back and he'll be recovered, and Gino's
Big Dumper's going to find his groove again.
Yeah, Gino's going to be better when he gets a couple of games under his belt.
Yeah.
Ty France has been playing a great third base. Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's still positive out there. Kelenic, Millie, you were saying you had kind of a theory about Kelenic.
Yeah, what's your Kelenic theory?
Yeah, well, Jared Kelenic, who is
Jared.
Jared. That's who he is for the rest of the season to me, by the way. Jared, we have to believe Jared. And for those of you who are watching our YouTube visuals here, I do have last year's sort of iconic image, which when the Mariners were oh so close and making this run that made everyone really excited for this season.
Mhm.
That image was Jared Kelenic holding up his Ted Lasso Believe sign, which was
Believe, Jared.
Jared believes. He believes in you and he believes in the Mariners. And he's had a really tough season as a professional baseball player. He is someone who at the beginning of the season, lots of us, including me, if you were to go back and listen to the podcast, he was a favorite for the year. I was all about Jared and Julio, and he did not deliver on his promise, and he's gone back down to AAA twice during the course of this season. He came back at a time that I think is really important mentally. And that's the thing about this team. And I'm really hoping they do go into the playoffs hot. We want that. We want that streak like they were having this time last year. I want to see Jared with his belief sign again. And I think he can be that spark. I feel like some of the best teams, when you see those sort of team of destiny, scenarios, is that there's some player who comes in that is this spark that the team needs. And it's that, in a movie, it would be the young scrappy kid who makes the one play, who didn't make the play all year. Right. and that's Kelenic to me. He came in, he was excited right when we were losing Gino and we're losing Julio, and he's just picking up the slack left and right. He's hitting home runs. He made this amazing throw to Jake. That was the out we needed in the moment. Tonight, even in this horrible loss, he was a bit of a bright spot. He was one of the few people who managed to get a hit and get on
Yeah, and I
base.
think it's 4 in a row now.
Yeah, he's I was just looking at his stats even for the last where did that go? For just in the last 7 games, he's one of the hottest players on our team. He's got a 240 average.
That's great.
He's doing something that a lot of other people on the team can't do right now. And I think he can be that person for us, that he is that player who for the whole year, you're like, I don't know about this guy. And then you get to the playoffs and they're the guy. The guy didn't do much all year, but that's the walk-off, right? That's the, right when we needed it, home run, double, triple, sacrifice, whatever it is, he's the guy. And that is where I'm putting my energy is in Believe, and is Jared Kelenic, and is Julio returning, and is Gino was back tonight with his good vibes. Like, I'm ready, but I really hope we get it going. We got
ready.
Oakland coming back in, and that was not pretty when we went to Oakland. So I feel like maybe we've got some revenge energy to get out. That's what I'm hoping for.
And we'll have a healthy team.
And I think that I really feel that for Jared, because it reminds me of Randy Arozarena in 2020 on the Tampa Bay Rays, who was a rookie who won the ALCS MVP and kind of came out of nowhere and hit like 10 homers in the postseason, just like out of nowhere a little bit. And he ended up winning Rookie of the Year the next year. But I feel like there's an element of that to Jared and his rise during this time, where it's like the unexpected contributor making big plays.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I like him. I think he's got it, and he just needs to put it together. Briefly, I wanted to just talk about the Washington Huskies. I graduated from the University of Washington. I'm a big Huskies fan, and last season was a giant disappointment that I did not want to talk about. Jimmy Lake was a cancer on that team, and it was one of the worst seasons I've ever watched in my life. And then they fired him in the middle of that season.
Next to the Tyrone Willingham was at the 0-12 season of
2007.
Oh man, that was
that was a rough one too. But they went out and they hired this guy, DeBoer. And I didn't really know who he was, but he had his first press conference and he won me over in that first press conference because
DeBoer.
He was a culture guy, and he reminded me a lot of Pete Carroll. And the way he was talking, I was like, this guy's got a vision, and it sounds like he cares about his players. And so I got really excited, cautiously optimistic. He brought in, from a transfer, he brought in the quarterback that he worked with in Indiana, Michael Penix Jr., who it's not like he lit the world on fire when he was playing, and he was kind of injury prone. So I was kind of like, okay, like, I guess bring in your guy, I guess, but it's not like this guy's going to be the savior. But let me tell you, I mean, this guy, I think, can be a dark horse Heisman candidate. I think Penix Jr. is.
Oh, he's being talked about now.
He should be, because he's accurate. He can read a defense. He's going through his progressions. He's leading his receivers. He's got this just effortless touch. It is fun as heck watching that guy play. This is a quarterback that I haven't seen play for the Washington Huskies, maybe since I've been watching them. You know, the Huskies have always been defined by their defense, and this is sort of like a high-flying offense, and it's kind of fun to watch. By the way, that's not to say that this defense is nothing, because this defense is still a smothering University of Washington defense. It's currently, when we went into this season, the Huskies were unranked. We beat the Michigan State when they were ranked 11th. and we just beat the poo out of Stanford. So now we're ranked number 15. I think this team is going places, and I think they're the class of the Pac-12 right now. And I'm just, I'm having a lot of fun watching those games. What about you, Curtis? I know you're the other Husky fan on this.
Yeah,
on this pod.
I am. I've been fair weather over the last few years after Chris Peterson stepped down, and I was not a fan of the Jimmy Lake experience at all. In fact, it was really hard to digest. I'm excited for the future of Husky football with Kalen DeBoer. You mentioned that you felt like you sort of sensed a Pete Carroll sort of vibe with him. I think he's sort of like, I mean, I think he's a culture guy like Carroll, but I think he's an offensive mind like Sean McVay.
Totally, absolutely.
And I've heard it said on the radio that through players that they're just blown away through spring ball and all the way through the process of training camp into these games, how painstakingly detail oriented he is, and how much of a tight regimen he has all those players on. Like, everybody knows where to go, what to do, like everything is mapped out for the whole entire team.
It's showing up on the field. It's one of the most
shows up on the
teams.
field. Like, if you want to watch good local football this year,
watch the Huskies.
Watch what the Huskies are doing offensively, because it's really kind of a symphony of plays. And Michael Penix Jr. is just a delight to watch. You know, he's tall, he's athletic. It's interesting to watch that he's left-handed. You know, and I don't know, I've got this weird hang up with left-handed quarterbacks. Like, I don't think they translate, but I mean, he throws a beautiful, I mean, he'll throw a touch pass, not unlike Russell Wilson and prime Russell Wilson, you know, points of his career, where the ball just drops right between two defenders, hitting the receiver while the receiver is in stride, and the receiver doesn't stop to catch the ball. Like, he catches it and goes. And this is
so good
through all. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's just so much, there's such a quick release and suddenness to the way he gets the ball out, but it's the areas to which he gets the ball to that the receivers catch to keep on going. And I actually think that this guy is, you know, if they keep trending in this sort of way, not only do I think he's, you know, a likely Heisman candidate, I think he's going to be more than likely at this rate, probably a first-round pick. And I would just say that it was really caught my eyes on the news Sunday morning when John Snyder was at that game on the Husky sideline against Stanford. And, you know, we got 2 first-round picks. So, you know, if you're a Seahawk fan wondering what the future might be for, you know, the quarterback in the next year or so, you might want to check out the Huskies and watch Penix, because, you know, there's, with the way the season could go for Seattle, I mean, they're going to have a pretty high pick. And if he's, you know, if he ends up winning the Heisman and plays big in a Rose Bowl and stuff like that, it wouldn't be shocking to me if he's a high first-round pick.
He's just super fun to watch. He's having the time of his life out there. And I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
I just want to say one quick thing about the rest. I forgot to mention earlier about the NFL week. I'm tired of man babies. I'm sick and tired of people.
Yes,
like
thank you for bringing this up.
Like, just like, don't throw a temper tantrum. You're 45 years old. Don't break a tablet and then the NFL, like, go fuck yourselves.
It wasn't only Tom Brady, but it was the OC from the Bills.
Right, totally. But Tom Brady was last week. And then the NFL came out and said, look, if you break a tablet, expect to be fined. And it's like, so fine Tom Brady. Like, this is a man-child who is running away from his family so that he can play football. Like, go fuck yourself, Tom Brady. Go fuck yourself, Steve DeBoer, whoever the guy on the Bills is. Like, don't, like, control your temper. That's it. Like, don't be a little temper tantrum baby pants. Go and poop in your diaper. Like
By the way, in that Bills, whoever was covering the camera, whatever assistant coach that was who had the foresight to like cover the camera while that guy started having temper tantrum, he deserves a raise.
he
Give him
does.
a bonus. Yeah.
It's just like, it's so gross.
Yeah,
Like,
it's horrible.
Just don't be an idiot like that. Like, control your emotions. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to cry, like, please, by all means. But like,
Right.
don't break a tablet.
Ridiculous. No, I agree.
And it perpetuates and expands it, right? I mean, a lot of times, you know, you have these younger players and they're and they're freaking out on the sideline or something, and you really just want to, no, don't do that. Like, you got to find a better way to channel that. But
Yes.
in some ways too, though, I'm like, at least, you know, you're a player and your adrenaline is up here and there's a lot going on. That's a lot more understandable. I understand the adrenaline up in the booth is really high too, but you are not a 23-year-old athlete on the field who just screwed up in front of everyone and let your team down. Unless he was up there, like somehow magically communicating exactly what needed to happen in order to somehow magically spike a ball when you didn't have enough time to do it. Like, what is this freak out?
Right.
Exactly over. You all had what happens all the time in these games. You had a minimal amount of time that needed to happen perfectly in order for you to get another play. And it's like,
So what was the freak out about? I didn't really.
that they ran out of time to run a play in Buffalo, and
they needed to spike the ball, and they didn't get it. By the time the ball was set and they got set to the line, time ran out. There wasn't time to spike the ball.
You know what he reminded me of? Alan Rickman in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. When he's like throwing a temper tantrum. That's what he reminded me of.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, I mean, grow up. It's bad enough. I guess to me, it's just, these are your coaches.
right.
And
Yes.
they need
But
to
it's
be
also
held to a
Tom
higher
Brady.
standard. And also someone like Tom Brady, who is 40 whatever
A
years old.
45-year-old fucking grown-ass man.
Yes, he is not, again, he is not a rookie quarterback. He
Right.
is a leader on the team. Leaders need to hold themselves in check, and they need to be a better example.
What
Agreed.
did Brady freak out about? What was his issue?
Incomplete passes. He broke 2 tablets during the game because of incomplete passes. And
Because somebody
going 3
didn't
and
catch
out.
the ball that he threw, or because he
Ostensibly, yeah.
threw it like
He wasn't upset with the refs. You've seen him as a competitor, but this is part of the reason why we all fucking hate Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, he's a total
Totally.
prick to everyone around him. And
Yeah.
it's like, don't be a giant baby. You're making millions of dollars to play a game that we all want to see and we all want to watch and we all want to root against you. And then you go up there and you're just an asshole to
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, and
Like-
your job as the leader is to be the one who is in control.
Right.
Yeah. No, it drives me crazy.
I just don't, that type of behavior. It's like, I mean, Curtis, you have a 4-year-old.
Mhm.
Like, I have a 9-year-old. I've been through that kind of temper tantrum and I don't stand for it. I'm just like, you do you, get the fuck out of this room, you know? Like,
Yeah, Henry, he wants to, right now, he's all about, like, testing boundaries and seeing what he can get away
Yes,
with and
he's
stuff
at that
like that.
age.
I don't even yell at him anymore. What I do is when he crosses the line, I just look at him and I'm just like going like, what? So you want to go to bed right now? You want to go to bed? I get really serious and I just stare him right down and he just flips the fuck out. Like it's the most horrific thing that I could possibly do to him.
That's what Tom
And
Brady's
it's like,
OC
it's not
should say to
yelling
him.
at him. It's not grabbing him. It's just saying like, okay, all these toys right now, I'm going to take them all away.
right.
They're going by.
When Tom Brady starts throwing some tablets around, his offensive coordinator should come over and do I need to take those toys away? Do you need to go? Do you need to take a nap?
That's what you need.
Is it
You know
nap
what?
time?
You know
Do
what?
need to go to bed?
He needs Bill Belichick on that sideline going, like,
Yeah.
take your fucking toys away. I'm going to take your fucking toys away right now.
Let's get into some Dorking.
Okay.
Oh, here's what I'm dorking out about.
Yeah.
So I'm an actor. And I like the combat choreography. That's my thing, actor combatant. I took a lot of classes and I loved it a lot. We called it Fight Church. It always usually took place on Sundays, and we'd all get together and Jeff Ulm would teach us how to use some weapons. Obviously in the pandemic, I haven't been able to do any of that, but just last week I went back. We're doing some sword and shield. It's good. It's good to be back. It's good some exercise, but seeing all those guys again and swinging a sword, and it's really fun. So that's what I've been dorking out about this week. So when I got home, I was so amped up. It's a 3-hour class and I'm breathing hard and the muscles hurt, and it was fun, like swinging swords and bouncing them off shields and stuff like that. And immediately I sat down in front of the computer and bought myself a new sword and shield.
Get it.
And then I was like,
happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I forgot how expensive this hobby can be.
Wow.
But that's what I'm dorking out about. Millie, what are you dorking out about?
Well, last season, I talked about my love of the reality show Big Brother, and last season was super special in a lot of ways with how the final alliance stayed together and that winner. And this season also did not disappoint. Big Brother just awarded the prize to their first Black female winner.
Wow.
Taylor Hale, and she was a joy to watch all season. As often in reality shows, people start to be painted as villains and they have edits, and these folks in the house don't necessarily know which way any of that is going because they're not in it. And it was a really strange beginning to the season. There was a house guest who was, for lack, I don't know what the actual thing that happened with her was, but she ended up taking herself out of the game for mental health reasons. And there were a couple of moments early on that I recognized with this woman where I was like, she's not living in reality. Her level of anxiety and paranoia to me was so obvious. And you can't live there in the first 2 weeks in this experiment.
Right. It's a long season.
But people would say things to her and her responses were so strange. And I was like, this woman's not okay. And very early on, this got twisted that this other woman, Taylor, was somehow weaponizing this woman's mental health, which wasn't actually happening. It was really coming from this woman and her paranoia that she was living in. And also she was genuinely trying to care about someone, and it was misinterpreted as some sort of gameplay, which it was not. So she was somebody who was in the beginning being bullied, but being presented as if somehow she was actually manipulating people. And it just took a couple of people deciding this didn't seem right. Let's make us a group. And you're going to be in our group, and we're just going to kind of separate ourselves from whatever the hell's happening over there. And that group of people became what they referred to themselves as the leftovers, and became the most powerful alliance within the house. But what's really special about Taylor's win is as you get to the end of this show, it gets really hard to win if you don't win a ton of competitions. A social game is important, but it rarely wins you the prize. And she gave the most powerful, amazing final speech in her final two that I am quite convinced swayed a couple of jury members to vote for her. And in the end, she got, I believe, 7 out of the 8 votes to win the game. And
Wow.
Not only did she win the game, for the first time ever, she also won America's favorite house guest. It's never happened that the winner is also the favorite house guest. So another fascinating, interesting season of my favorite social experiment, Big Brother, with the ending that I wanted. And I'm very proud of the people who lived in that house and how they lived in that house this season. It was well done.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Allanah, what are you dorking out about?
I'm going to go rapid fire on this one. I'm dorking out on playing Scrabble with my family. The
fun.
kid played for the first time. Every word she played was missing a letter, which was cute. Like doubts without the B or Neil without the K. So like she was missing a lot of silent letters, and it was really, but it was really great because she was engaged in playing the game. I wanted to follow up on what Daniel, you and Curtis were talking about last week. The show Reservation Dogs is an historically beautiful and important show. I think that it, especially season 2, it needs to be watched, and it just got renewed for season 3, which is awesome. I am now in about halfway through first season of Strange New Worlds of Star Trek. I finished Discovery, or caught up on Discovery. I thought that the 4th episode, which was about the Gorn, was garbage, and it took me 5 days to get through it. But then the next episode was Spock Amok, which was a body swap episode. And like, come on, like that's right there.
I thought that episode was delightful.
It was so delightful, and she is so incredibly attractive.
Love her. Yes.
And she is also on the Mysterious Benedict Society, which is a really great family show on Disney Plus. And then lastly, I'm actually probably going to watch Andor because I liked Rogue One, and I've heard really good things about Andor. And the last thing that I saw that I'm actually really ready to geek out on, but maybe not, or dork out on, but maybe not in this context, is Deadpool 3 and the announcement that came with that, and having a date for it. And I think that that's going to be super fun.
I love it. Yeah, Hugh Jackman is going to be reprising Wolverine. I think that's really fun. I thought Reservation Dogs season 2 was absolutely beautiful, and the last season of Atlanta dropped, and I'm very, very looking forward to that. Curtis, what are you dorking out about?
I'll make it quick. I'll just piggyback on Reservation Dogs. Right before we started recording, I caught the season finale of season 2. And I got caught up in the emotions of it. I don't know if you've all seen the finale yet.
No.
It's terrific. I'm not going to give any single spoiler to it. Just enjoy it for the amazing show that it is. And I'm super stoked that it's picked up for season 3. This is my favorite show on TV so far. So, and I've loved a lot of things. The Bear, Ted Lasso, all that sort of stuff. I've enjoyed, and I'll just say that I have checked out Andor for the first 3 episodes, and I think it's terrific. It's a great prequel to the Rogue One Star Wars movie, and God, that actor is just
Pedro
so
Pascal.
engaging to watch. And I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but by the 3rd episode, I was just like, oh my God, I wish I could just binge it all right now. So I'm excited about that new episode to drop tomorrow. And that's all I got. All
right. Well, hey, that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to Seahawks versus Detroit next week. Hey, if you like this podcast, you should check out Curtis's blog, 12life.com. He's got a lot of really great stuff on there. You should read it. Follow us, hit that plus or wherever you're listening to that podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever we're around. We're on all of them. We're also, you can see our pretty faces on YouTube. You can follow us there as well. And spread the word. If you like us, tell your friends. Once again, my name is Daniel, for Curtis, Allanah, Millie, the rest of the 12s, saying goodbye. And go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Right.